Hello, my dear students. How are you all doing? I hope you all are doing good, enjoying your lives, studying hard. Welcome to Sri Jendra Rank Zone classes. And I am Amit Ajmani, your science facilitator, back with the lecture number 2 of energy, the work, energy, and power. This is our chapter in which we talked about the first topic, that is work, in our previous lecture. Now, in this lecture, what we are going to do is we'll be studying about the second part of our chapter and work we have already done. In this lecture, we'll be studying about energy. Now, what exactly is meant by energy? We all know it is the ability or the capacity of a body to do work. We are able to do work only when we have got energy, correct? And if we are having energy, then only we can do work, one or the same thing, the way you want to present it. And that is why energy is always considered equivalent to work done. Now we need to remember that energy is a scalar quantity, that is, it has got only magnitude and no direction whatsoever. Now, because work done and energy are considered equivalent, therefore the units of work and energy are also same. The SI unit of work done we have done in the previous session, that is joules. Same is the case with energy. The SI unit of energy is also joules, which is represented by capital J. Now, when we talk about energy, this joule is comparatively a small unit, even though it is the standard international SI unit, but it is a small unit. So we require some bigger units, and those bigger units are kilojoule and megajoule. Kilojoule is represented as kJ and megajoule by mj. Now, 1 kilojoule is equivalent to 1000 joules, or we can say 10 to the power 3 joules, right? And 1 megajoule is equivalent to 10 lakh joules, that is written as 10 to the power 6 joules. Okay, so these are the bigger units of energy, right? Now we also need to relate the difference between, rather the relation between the different units of energy. What are these? Let me try to explain. 1 joule is equivalent to 10 to the power 7 ERG. Now ERG, we know that this is the unit of work done or energy in CGS system, smaller units. Okay, another thing, we also need to know that 1 electron volt is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 joule. We must know these relationships because they are many a times asked in our examination. Another important relation is calorie. How many joules are there in 1 calorie? There are 4.18 joule in 1 calorie. So these three relationships we need to relate, that SI unit is joule, and how is it related to the smaller unit ERG? 1 joule is equal to 10 to the power 7 ERG. If we talk about electron volts, there are 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 joules in 1 electron volt. And in 1 calorie, there are 4.18 joules. Correct? Now, this energy that we are studying has so many different forms. Just to name a few are the mechanical energy, kinetic energy, potential energy, heat energy, chemical energy, nuclear energy, solar energy, geothermal energy, sound energy, tidal energy, sea wave energy, magnetic energy, and so on. There are so many types of energy, so many types, but we will confine our studying with only these three types in this particular chapter, that is mechanical energy, kinetic energy, and potential energy. So let us try to relate what are these. Number one, what is mechanical energy? It is the sum total of kinetic energy and potential energy. So kinetic energy and potential energy taken together is called mechanical energy. These are the two forms of mechanical energy. It is the sum total of kinetic energy plus potential energy. So now we need to know what are these kinetic and potential energies. Let us try to relate them one by one. First of all, we'll be studying in detail about the kinetic energy. Now, what exactly is kinetic energy? We all know it is the energy of a body due to its motion. Whenever a body is in motion, it possesses kinetic energy. I repeat, whenever the body is in motion, so it means that if the body is not in motion, if the body is at rest, if the body is stationary, it will not possess kinetic energy. Okay. Now, how do we calculate the kinetic energy? We need to see the formula for kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is equal to half mv square, where m is the mass of the body and v is the velocity or speed of the body. Mass, we know that SI unit is kilogram, and speed or velocity, the SI unit is meter per second. So this is the formula for calculating kinetic energy. In this formula, we can see there are two physical quantities, mass and velocity. So that means kinetic energy will depend on these two factors. How? Let us try to relate. So the factors on which kinetic energy depends is it depends on the mass of the body and it depends on the velocity of the body. Now in the formula we have seen kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. So if we keep the velocity constant, then in that case this half is of course already a constant value. So this kinetic energy is directly proportional to the mass of the body. So kinetic energy is directly proportional to the mass of the body. What does it mean? That if there is any change whatsoever in the mass of the body, then the kinetic energy will have same impact, right? If the mass of the body is increased, that kinetic energy will also increase in the same proportion. For example, if the kinetic energy is doubled, if the mass is doubled, the kinetic energy will also get doubled. If the mass is made 3 times, the kinetic energy will also become 3 times, and so on. And if the mass is decreased, if the mass is decreased, the kinetic energy will also decrease. If the mass is made half, kinetic energy will also become half. If the mass becomes 1/4, kinetic energy also becomes 1/4. So this is the first relation, that the kinetic energy of a body is directly proportional to the mass of the body. Correct? Provided velocity remains constant. The second factor on which it depends is, now if we make mass fixed, mass is constant, half is constant, so now the kinetic energy is equivalent to v square. So the kinetic energy depends on the velocity of the body. And how it depends? It is directly proportional to the square of the velocity. The kinetic energy of a body is directly proportional to the square of the velocity of the body. This square is quite important. Why? Because if now we double the velocity, what will be the impact in the kinetic energy? It will be the square of it. So if we take the square of 2v, it comes out to be 4v square. Already it was v square, now it is 4 times. So if the velocity of the body is doubled, then in that case the kinetic energy will get 4 times increased. If the velocity of the body is halved, rather than taking V now, I'll take 1 by 2V. So the kinetic energy will be impacted at the ratio of square of it. So now if I open it, it will become 1 by 4V square. So on making the velocity half, the kinetic energy will become 1/4. So this is quite important to remember, that kinetic energy is directly proportional to the velocity but the square of it. So whatever change will be there in the velocity, square impact will come to the kinetic energy. Got it, everyone? What does it exactly does it mean? It means that if we are considering heavy bodies with high velocities, so if the mass is more, velocity is more, they will have more kinetic energy as compared to slow moving bodies having small masses. So heavy body has more kinetic energy as compared to the light body if their velocity is same, or if the masses are same, then the body with the high velocity will have more kinetic energy. Got it? Now because energy is equivalent to work done, so we can also say that kinetic energy is equal to work done, and work done we have studied in the previous lecture that work done is equal to F into S. So we can also write kinetic energy to be equal to F into S. So both ways we can calculate the kinetic energy. Got it? Now, there is a very important comparison being made between kinetic energy and momentum. We already know what is momentum. Momentum is the product of mass and velocity of the body, and it is represented by small p. This is momentum. Now let us try to relate what is the relationship between kinetic energy and momentum. We just saw kinetic energy, the formula is half mv square. Now what we do is we multiply and divide this formula with m. So now what exactly we will get? We will get half as it is, m into m will become m square, v square remains the same, and now we have got divided by m. Correct? So in the numerator we have got m into v into m into v, because both of them are square, m square and v square, and we have just seen that m into v is equal to what? P. So I can write p rather than writing m into v. Again I can write p, so it becomes p square upon this half, this 2 we have taken down, upon 2m. So very importantly, kinetic energy can also be expressed as P square upon 2m, where Ke is the kinetic energy, P is the momentum of the body, and m is the mass of the body. So this is the relationship between kinetic energy and linear momentum. From this, we conclude that a body cannot have kinetic energy without having linear momentum, and vice versa. If a body has momentum, it means it must be having kinetic energy, and if a body is having kinetic energy, it needs to be in momentum. Clear? So this is the relationship between kinetic energy and momentum. I hope the kinetic energy part is clear to everyone now. Let us move further and talk about the second type of mechanical energy, that is potential energy. Now, what exactly is meant by potential energy? It is the energy of a body due to its position or change in shape. I repeat, either it should be the because of the position of the body, or second thing is because of the change in shape. We have seen so many times that if we stretch a rubber band, then in that case if we leave it, it hurts. We have seen that in the case of bow and arrow, if we stretch the bow, then the arrow goes forward. Why is it so? If a stone, if any object drops from some height, it causes injuries. It will hurt us. Why? Because of the potential energy they have got. If anything is thrown or it fell from a height, because of its position above the ground level, it contained potential energy. Similarly, when we are talking about a balloon or a rubber band or a bow and arrow, by changing the shape, actually, there we see that the object gains potential energy. So these are the two things which are required for potential energy. Either it is in a body due to its position, or it is in a body due to its change in shape. And accordingly, there are two types of potential energy. One is gravitational potential energy, another is elastic potential energy. What are these? Gravitational potential energy is the potential energy of a body due to its position above the ground. Correct? So this position part, this is known as gravitational potential energy. And elastic, it is the potential energy of a body due to a change in its shape or size. That is called elastic potential energy. So this change in shape or size, it leads to the elastic potential energy. So these are the two types of potential energies. Correct? Now, how to calculate potential energy? Let us see. The formula for potential energy is, we know that potential energy is mainly because of the change in position. That is, it is because of its higher position above the earth. So, it is equal to the work done on the body against gravity in moving the body to that position. And we know that work done is equal to force into distance, F into S, and against gravity it is equal to mgh. Now this work gets stored up in the body as potential energy in the form of potential energy. So therefore the same work done can be made equivalent to potential energy, and thus the formula for potential energy becomes mgh, where m is the mass of the body. Of course, mass is expressed in unit, SI unit is kilograms. G is the acceleration due to gravity. Some people call it acceleration, one or the same thing. How to pronounce, that is not important. Is it acceleration or acceleration? The way you want to do it, you may do it. So G is acceleration due to gravity, and the value of G is to be taken as 9.8 meter per second square. Certain times, if it is specified in the question, especially for solving the numericals, there are times in order to make the calculation comfortable and easy, G is rounded off to 10 meter per second square, but that is only when it was mentioned in the question. So unless until it is specified in the question, we should never take G to be rounded off 10 meter per second square. We always have to take it to be 9.8 meter per second square. Okay. And H is the height of the body above a reference point, and we know that height is measured in meters, represented as small m. So this is all about potential energy. Now kinetic energy, the energy in a body due to its motion. Potential energy, the energy in a body due to its higher position above the earth or due to the change in shape or size. And these two collectively, the kinetic as well as potential energy, they are collectively called as mechanical energy. Clear? Now, one important thing is, till now we have always been working on, or we have always been related to, the law of conservation of mass, law of conservation of energy, which stated that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, right? And law of conservation of mass stated that mass can neither be created nor be destroyed in any chemical reaction. So the total mass always remains constant. There will be no addition in the mass, or there will be no deletion or subtraction in the mass. It will be same. Even though the reactants have been converted into different products, but the mass will remain the same. But now there is an exception to it. Einstein, Albert Einstein, we know, the famous physicist and the mathematician, a great, a huge, a big name in the field of science. He gave mass energy equivalence. He was the person who, for the very first time, established that mass and energy are two different forms of the same entity. Now, what exactly it means? It means that in a reaction, any chemical or nuclear reaction, the mass can also be destroyed, but that mass will be destroyed and will be converted into energy, because energy and mass, they are considered to be two different forms of the same entity. And how much will be the energy liberated? He gave his Einstein mass energy relation. This is known as Einstein's mass energy relation, that is E is equal to mc square. Here m is the mass of the body in kilogram. C, very importantly, is the velocity of body in free space, and that we know is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. This is the velocity of body in vacuum or in free space. So if we take m to be the mass of the body and c to be the velocity, then E is equal to mc square. This E is the energy obtained when a mass is completely converted into energy. So this is our mass energy equivalence. Clear to all? So till now we have studied about what exactly is energy. We studied about, very importantly, the various relationships between the various units. What were those relationships? Try to once again review it. 1 joule is equal to 10 to the power 7 ERG. What is ERG? It is the unit of work done or energy in the CGS system. Another thing we need to relate is 1 eV, 1 electron volt. E small v is written capital. This is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 joules. And in 1 calorie, there are 4.18 joules. So these are a few unit relationships that are very important. You need to remember. They will be asked in the examination. Then we talked about kinetic energy of the body, that is the energy due to the motion, and we saw a few formulas how to calculate kinetic energy. What were the formulas? Kinetic energy is equal to half mv square, the first formula. Second formula for kinetic energy is equal to P square upon 2m related to momentum. And the third formula we did was kinetic energy is equal to F into S, being equal to the work done. So these three are the formulas we need to relate. Very importantly, how kinetic energy depends on the factors like mass and velocity, directly proportional to mass and directly proportional to the square of velocity. Then we talked about potential energy, types of potential energy, gravitational and elastic, energy due to the change in shape, size, or because of its position. If it is because of position, gravitational. If it is because of change in shape or size, it is elastic. And the formula for calculating potential energy is same as we have done in work done against gravity, that is m into g into h. Next and last, we just considered Einstein's energy mass relation, energy mass equivalence. Okay, so this is all that we are going to do in today's class. Go back home, read, revise, learn, write, practice. Whatever you do, but make sure by the next class you come prepared with all these topics discussed today. So we have talked about kinetic and potential energy. We'll be further discussing about a few details in our next lecture. Till then, prepare this lecture, take care of yourself, study hard, come back soon. We'll meet in the next lecture with the next topic. Thank you so much.